Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakwadash. Double lines to the elders of GMS rule well. Peace, salutations to like Akim in the four corners, percent truth, sincerity. Peace be unto you and Shalom.
I want to give a shout out to my kids' real daddy. Thank you, government, for putting me on. I mean, you was the definition of a real father. Because when your kids is hungry, they have food stamps. Yeah, we shop at Walmart. Yeah, we shop at Publix. We shop at Winn-Dixie. When your kids need shelter, yes, you have housing. And you also have Section 8 for a lot of us. And when our kids fall, get hurt, or sick, they have Medicaid. Yes, we go to the ER. We go to the walk-in clinic, and we also can make a doctor's appointment. I get their prescriptions with no hesitation. Now, if that's not the definition of a real father, making sure your kids have food, shelter, and health care, I don't know what it is. So like I said, thank you, government, for being my kid's daddy, and thank you for putting me on.
As you can see, that didn't age very well. When you look at the state of the economy that's going on right now, there's people, there's 3.8 million people are projected to be evicted within the next 2 months. You have this housing crisis that is looming, which actually we're in the midst of right now. But this housing crisis, which is looming, and is setting up for the basically for the Great Reset. This we are still starting to see what the new normal looks like. And I guarantee you the woman that was in that video saying and talking all this mess is not happy with how the government is doing. You had, HUD budget cuts. You've had all types of cuts that actually now are starting to, your Babylonians are now starting to feel the effect of some of those budget cuts that were already in place, and on top of this, inflation that's going on right now. Stuff that I was buying that was, let's say, $5 is now $6. You can feel the squeeze and the grip on this economy.
As students head back to the classroom, there's new concern from parents about the public schools in their communities. Brand new NBC News polling finds just 37% of parents say they feel pretty confident in their school's ability to help students catch up with learning loss due to COVID. Even fewer say they feel very confident about schools having enough teachers and staff available to meet the needs of students. And just 30% say they are pretty confident in active shooter preparations. For the first time in 2 years, breakfast and lunch won't be covered for everyone now that a federal pandemic-era program has ended, leaving schools and families scrambling to cover the costs. Emily Ikeda explains.
This is Ezekiel 4:13. And the Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. And here it is. These school lunches are defiled bread, and now the serpent is not even wanting to do that. So this is your daddy government that you bragging so much about. This is that serpent And a serpent does not, it's not really, it's a hireling. It's not really looking out for the flock like that.
You?
Yes.
Single mom Jamie Bunges has relied on free or reduced price lunches for her 4th grade son since he was in kindergarten.
What does that extra money mean to you?
Savings. I can put it towards groceries. I can put it in my gas tank.
She says paying for his lunch would cost her more than $1,000 a year.
I added it up, and it was like $118 a month. And you do that times 9, it's over $1,000 a year. So to me, it was like, oh my gosh, because I also have to, buy groceries.
It's a lot of money for families already tight on cash, especially those impacted by the end of the federal free school lunch for all program, a pandemic-era initiative that's now expired.
When you heard that program was ending, what was your reaction?
I was stressed, very stressed.
More than 26 million free meals were served every day because of the program. Now families must apply for meal coverage, and only those meeting certain income requirements will receive the free lunches.
Nationwide, around 1 in 6 students don't always know where their next meal is coming from. Here in the Greeley-Evans School District, food insecurity is even more severe. 65% of students qualify for free or reduced price lunches.
But in this Denver suburb, they're doing something different. The school board has decided to allocate $2 million so every one of the 23,000 students in the district can still eat for free. Danielle Bach is the head of nutrition.
A lot of our families are just over the threshold of what qualifies them for the free and reduced meal program. So we know that those families don't necessarily have the money to pay for those meals.
While some believe universal free lunch should be made permanent, critics say it was only intended to be a pandemic-era program.
By returning these programs back to normal, we can uphold our responsibility to taxpayers and the principle that aid should be targeted and temporary.
But Bach argues this year is far from normal, as staffing shortages, supply chain slowdowns, and inflation further complicate lunchtime nationwide.
Our goal is to teach kids how to learn and think, but they can't do that when they're hungry.
Back to school, bringing back challenges in feeding America's children. Emily Ikeda, NBC News, Greeley, Colorado.
We're in a time where, if you just heard that, they basically said a lot of people just missed that threshold to qualify, so they make too much. But nevertheless, that's what Esau says, they make too much. But they don't feel like they make enough. The way inflation is going and the budget cuts that's going on, this dollar is losing its power, it's losing its steam, which ultimately, like I say, is going back to the Great Reset, and allows for this UBI, Universal Basic Income, to take hold, and which will ultimately lead to what? The MOTB, the 666 mark. This is Habakkuk 2:6 says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that laddeth himself with thick clay." Thick clay is that debt. So many places, there's so many other countries that own some of America's debt. China, Japan. And guess what? When you are in debt to somebody, you are subject unto them. So a lot of things that America does are in the best interest of other countries. A lot of times the stuff that does don't make sense. Like why are we sending support over here? Why are we sending support to Israel? You know, because you're a slave to some of these countries. You know, America, you know, influence throughout the world, you know, is not as strong as how it used to be. You know, the conflict between Russia, I mean not so Russia, but America and America and Babylon, it can only be because they both have, you know, leverage. You know, here it is, Babylon. You know, he got his, you know, fiat currency, his dollar bill, and his Rothschild central banks, and places like China. China's no exception. China isn't one of those few countries that doesn't have it, and America has a great influence on China's economy, especially because China, basically, a lot of American jobs went to China. You know, so they're basically in bed with each other. You know, to get that cheap labor from China. A lot of these manufacturers, they get access to labor from China. These Jordans and stuff like that. A lot of them come from China or Taiwan or all these other, you know, slant-eyed, you know, rat-eating, you know, COVID-producing countries. You know, so they're in, you know, bed with each other. And with that, you know, them being in bed with one another, you know, the relationship is going to get rocky, but it's not going to be, it's not going to escalate the way we would want to, you know, see things escalate, because they're both codependent on each other. You know, so, but here it is, you know, we got, you know, this debt that's going on, the value of this dollar is increasing. The American citizens are feeling it, you know, brothers in the camps are feeling it. You know, here it is. We're in a time where of a great reset, and it's only going to lead that much closer to this new currency, which will be digital. You know, and this place is already on, you know, borrowed time. You know, a lot of these, you know, you see the the bridges, they are not up to code. This country is falling. That's why that Trump ran on the slogan "Make America Great Again." Why? Because this place is going to shit, and people can feel it going to shit. Even these these not red flag rednecks. What is it? Proud Boys and stuff like that. You know, there's a growing segment of whites who feel that this is their country and is dying, and they're right. It is going under. You know, and on that note, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Kakwadash. That belongs to elders of GMS rule well. Peace, salutations, and shalom.